What up? What up? What up? Welcome to another episode of 94 Feet with Coach JT. Do me a favor, leave a like in the comments, subscribe to the podcast as I continue to grow and bring you some dope guests to the podcast and try to just evolve this thing, man, in 2022 already. Man, and it's already March. Again, do me a favor, like, subscribe, tell me what you think. Before we get into this introduction that I got going, man, I want to give a shout out to everybody who came down to our place down in Old Sacramento today. Man, the grand opening was today. It was jumping. I don't even know how many people was down there, but the venue was popping. Shout out to everybody. D's Word of Mouth, Blueprint Events, man, everybody, the photo booth, the Elite photo booth, balloons. It's so many people over there. I'm gonna omit somebody. Forgive me, but just appreciate you guys and all the family and friends that came out, supported and worked and helped the event and showed love. Yeah, it's the event space downtown. Look us up, our place, events.com. We're in Old Sac, next to downtown. Next to, I think it's Firehouse. I believe that's where it is. The restaurant right next door. Also, start the show. Outside of it being Women's History Month, I'm gonna do something different right now. I'm jumping to this little contest right now. So Jay, if you got that flyer, you can put that flyer up with the contest, man. I want to give people in SAC across the world, anybody to submit some music. I'm looking for some dope tracks to highlight on the podcast. Just every show. Start the show maybe with it, do something like that, give you a little shout out, show some love. But also I'm looking for a track to the intro to the podcast. So you got 2 weeks from today. Submit it to my email, coachj916@gmail.com. A minute 30 track. It could be podcast related. That would be even dope. But if you got a track that you really feel is appropriate, I can use as an intro. Submit it, man. We got about 2 weeks, and then we're gonna review some stuff too. But also, I'm gonna highlight whatever I get in 2 weeks. I'm gonna try to highlight the local artists and give them a little shine right now. So, actually, the first artist I'm going to highlight right now. He was on my show already. Him and his producer Chim Chill was on the beat. His name is Joe. This track is called Only, right? So you can follow Joe on Instagram. It's underscore it's Joe, Jeaux, and produced by Chim Chill on the beat. So Jay, man, let's play that track real quick before I get to this introduction, man, so everybody can take a listen to it if you got it.
Girl, you want this nighttime lasting, but you scared to fall. So saddle up and brace yourself, cause I'm gonna give it all. And mama lift it up. Front on D&D, don't want no interruptions. Joey casting over the honest seduction. And you gon' reach your peak if you follow instructions. Baby, just trust it, yeah. Put your tongue on my tongue and speak the same language. Come star in this movie, I can make you famous. Kissing on your neck as you take off your necklace. And now the only thing we got on, baby, is this necklace. Now the only thing we got on, baby, is this necklace. Now the only thing we got on, can I be my main actress?
That's called Only by Joe. Man, give it up for him. I'll play that all month though. Give Joe some love. Hopefully you guys like it. Find it on iTunes, all the little platforms, music platforms. It's there. All right, let me jump into this intro real quick, man. My guest today is a graduate of Piedmont High School. The resume is so long, and this is our second time coming on the show, but our first time live. She is from Oakland, California. She also finished up her college career playing at Texas Tech University. Her numbers are crazy, but also want to get into what she's doing right now as well. She's a published author. She has 2 books out. One is called The Playground Queen. The other is called That's Not Fair, a lesson on equity versus equality. She is definitely a baller. The record books don't lie, the numbers don't lie, but also she's a activist. She's a mentor. She's a mother. She's also somebody who cares deeply about the influence she lives on children. So, Dr. Casey Morris, how you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thanks for being here. Thank you. So, some may have caught the first interview, so definitely want to get into a little bit of the background story of you and where you come from, man. For those that don't know, man, let's just give us a little insight of where you come from and where you grew up.
Yes. So, from the Bay Area, lived almost everywhere in the Bay Area, but went to Piedmont High School. parents both from Oakland. My mom went to Fremont, dad went to Oakland Tech. So Oakland is in my heart. And, from there, I went to college at Texas Tech University my first year at UC Berkeley, then transferred to Texas Tech University where I stayed there, played my whole collegiate career, and then got my PhD at Texas Tech University, and then just continued to be an advocate for former athletes, current athletes, and of course, Black and brown students and community members that are trying to uplift our people.
That's what's up. So coming from not too far down the road, she said she's not from Sacramento, so it's cool. I'm not gonna give her too much mess today, man. Even though she lives out here, I don't give her too much behind it. But so we talked about in our first interview, just the overall love for the game of basketball. We basically talked about some people you looked up to. You mentioned the game after. For those who might have missed it, just give us a little bit about who you looked up to back then and who you kind of mimicked your game after during that time of your life growing up.
Yeah, so my mentors, I have so many mentors. I think for women's players, it was probably Candace Parker. She was one of the first who held herself like a lady, so I appreciated that about her. Men's players, definitely Allen Iverson. So I tried to mock my crossover like Allen Iverson. I was a point guard all throughout my high school career. Then I went to college at Texas Tech where I started playing shooting guard. Of course, Kobe was one of my inspirations, and Michael Jordan. I usually live off of his quotes. But as far as personal inspirations, my dad was always my coach and kind of pushed me to be where I am today. So he's definitely somebody that I look up to.
That's what's up. And as we talked about before, as you know, seeing the game has evolved since then, right? Work ethic, grind, hours put in on the craft. I mean, as a young lady who mimicked some of the greats, right? You saw those. How much time, as we talked about, I said, did you put on? Because again, you're mimicking people who were elite athlete player at the time. So how much work were you putting in at the early age?
So much work. I mean, I used to, even in high school and before high school, I used to make sure I went to go to practice. And before practice, my dad would take me to Joaquin Miller. I don't know if you know where that is in Oakland. It's a big group of stairs that goes all the way up. And so we used to have to run the Joaquin Miller stairs before I went to go get some extra shots up before practice and after practice. So he kind of ingrained that in me that, in order to be the best, I needed to work like I was the best.
That's what's up. Shout out to Pops, the family.
Yeah.
Sacrifice. Well, let's talk about that, like sacrifice, right? What did you have to give up at an early age? What weren't you doing during the early childhood that some kids might have been doing that you just didn't do because you knew what you wanted to do?
I mean, I really wasn't interested in doing anything but basketball. Yeah. I was really passionate about basketball probably at a really young age. So like I said, Michael Jordan was an idol of mine. And, when he retired, I was emotional. So I was always in love with him and felt like Space Jam was like real. So, I mean, I never went out to parties and all that kind of stuff. And I never really was interested in it. I remember me and my sister tried to go to one party and it was like, this ain't for us. So it was always me putting in work for basketball. That's kind of what made me happy, is being on the basketball court.
Did y'all wear tennis shoes or heels to the party? I'll just say.
I don't even remember.
That means she might have wore tennis shoes. She was about that ball. She was about that hoop. Like, she probably wore tennis shoes. That's what's up. Just so being from Oakland, I mean, just in general though, what type of as people know, like the history of the Bay Area, Oakland, whatever, at times, it's definitely not, the low income, poverty, but also they have success stories too. But what are some things that you had to avoid getting into or not getting into during that time growing up?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I was really fortunate to have, like, whenever we went to go play EOYDC or Rainbow or anything like that, my dad was always right there with me. So
protection.
We were super fortunate. It was never like we went anywhere by ourselves. It was always him getting us to the gym and him taking us where the best players were playing intentionally. So it was never, and I remember he used to be so protective that, like, if somebody was cussing next to us or something, then he'd be like, don't cuss in front of my daughters. And I'd be like,
Pops on it down.
Yeah. And we were like really young. So it was never like, luckily I didn't have to have that survival instinct in me because my dad really protected.
He wasn't going for it.
Yeah.
He was not going for it. That's what's up. Man, the numbers in high school were crazy. The time you had, and we talked about a little bit offline right now during high school, how much fun was playing sports, going through those, outside in AAU as well, but just high school times, competition at the elite level. What type of feeling and joy did that bring to you to be able to accomplish some of the things you did?
It was amazing. I think that really made me kind of who I am today, even as a professional. So when we were at Piedmont, we went to state, I think twice. We won state one year when I was a freshman. And so we were always super competitive and we always had our rivals and everything and felt like we played at the highest competing level. So it was never a question that we were going to play against the best players. And I think that really shaped me for even when you go through challenges in life after sports, you really have to deal with that kind of stuff when,
Yep.
you've been playing at the highest level and your adrenaline's going and you face the adversities on the court, then that kind of matriculates over into your life after sports. So it definitely shaped who I am, and I'm thankful for it for sure.
Yeah, definitely. That's what's about. It's what it should be about, regardless of where you at. It's life lessons, and I know we get caught up in wins and losses. Some people do, some people don't, but it's the life wins and losses that you really gotta be able to come back from.
Yeah,
that ball game is okay. You can survive that, but that's definitely real talk. The transition from staying local to going to Texas, what was that like for you?
That was very different. So I stayed local because my parents were here, my family's, and my family at the time when I went to Cal was living in Fairfield, and so it wasn't far away
Down
for
the
them
street.
to get to all of my home games. So I stayed there for that reason. But when I transferred to Texas Tech, I feel like they gave me like that family type feeling atmosphere. The coaches did, which is why I selected them to go to transfer there. But it was always hard because I was so far from home. So when you're used to being close to home for so long, even when you travel for sports, like I said, my dad was on my hip my whole life. So when I traveled for AAU, my dad was right there. So going to Texas, I felt like I was kind of by myself.
Yeah.
But then again, I always had a phone, which I'm thankful for. So I could always, every single game before a game, I'll call my dad and say, "So I'm about to play." Just get his voice in my head before I played. So it was difficult because it was a transition to be away from family, but it was necessary, I think, for me at that time.
That's what's up. That's dope. You get down there, you get settled in. The humidity, climate, weather, different talking people. But I'm sure you travel. You play. You've been all around anyway. Yeah. But initially, what's the first thing in your mind when you get on campus outside of the welcoming feeling? What's like on your list? What you got to do? What are you trying to accomplish when you get there?
Oh, I was trying to make sure they knew who I was. They knew I was transferring, and when you're a transfer student, it's always like something comes with you, like why she transferring, what happened, or whatever. So I was already in the court, even though I couldn't play that year. I was always in the gym, late, shooting, doing whatever I need to do, so they knew who I was. And I was building my game at the same time because when I was a freshman, I was playing really like anxious. Y'all would get excited when I get on the court when I was at UC Berkeley. And I knew I had things to work on, but I just went in the gym and always worked on my shot and got really comfortable shooting. So I became a shooter before I even started playing. So I was definitely making sure they knew who I was. They gave me my respect when I came, but I was still like, I don't think, like, I'm not just all talk.
That's what's up. Being from Cali, I know they give nicknames to every. You got a town, right? They keep a nickname quickly, but what was your spare time outside of basketball? Because it's important for athletes to do things. How did you kind of keep yourself sane or mind kind of? Even though I know hoop is everything, it's like you're on the clock. But what did you do to kind of refresh, stay focused, or get away, or regroup? What kind of things did you practice? We talk about like mental health right now too, offline. What things maybe that you did that you can point out that kind of help you on an even keel or ready to perform?
You know what? In college, and I talked to you about this last time, I wish I had more of this. I wish I knew how to meditate, and I wish I knew how to kind of take breaks and not think about basketball. But for me, when I wasn't playing, I was looking to go have fun like any other college student. Our coach was super strict, so she really didn't let us do a lot.
You had to sneak out, go have fun.
We had to go get it in and have fun. But I wish I had that in me where I was able to like unplug, because that's one thing I did do was be in my own head a lot when I played. So I wish I didn't think so much about like when a coach said something, it would sit with me for a long time. So if I could have changed anything or improved at that time, but you're young, so I know that I had to learn and grow. But if I had this mentality I have as an adult when I was a college player, it would have been a whole different problem, because I would have been able to unplug and really like regroup before I get back on the court. But I really didn't have that much. I would go maybe sleep. I had a routine where I would go home.
You was locked in.
Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what it is though. For y'all that don't know, that everybody think it's one way, or they don't show it on TV or whatever. It's they're on their time.
Oh yeah.
And I try to tell a lot of athletes the scholarship's good for 1 year. They may offer to you for 4, but yearly that thing could be somewhere else, or you could lose it if you're not performing or doing what you're supposed to do. So what I mean, it's not just a 4-year commitment. Nah, it's not that. Yeah. Couple highlights, couple things that in college that stand out for you that you want to share, or that you can enlighten us on, that maybe we didn't speak about the first time, or something you want to go back into that just really stick out for you that you'll never forget.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think for me is when we played against, and I always look at these highlights from that game when we beat number 1 Baylor, when they were number 1 and the students rushed the floor.
So who was on that Baylor squad?
Brittany Griner.
Oh yeah.
Odyssey Sims.
They loaded.
What was her? I forgot a lot of their names, but they
Odyssey
had
was cold too, though.
yeah, Odyssey was
Yeah.
good. They had a good squad when we were there. They were number one for a long time.
Oh yeah.
And so we beat them. They blew us out when we played at Baylor. So when we got them at Texas Tech, when we beat them on our home floor, it just felt good. So.
How far is our schools from each other? Is that really far? Because I haven't been to Baylor. Are your schools really far away, or just kind of?
Baylor's in Waco, so that's like near Dallas, kind of.
Okay.
So it's like a 3-4 hour drive.
Okay, so not too far though, but
yeah.
it's close enough to where it's rocking both ways.
Oh,
they bringing fans down for sure.
Oh yeah,
it
was for sure some fans there from Texas Tech when we went there, and from Baylor when they came over here. So it was good.
That's dope. What did you major in college?
I majored in the first year I started in business, and then I switched to university studies so I could finish early, 3 years early, so I could start my master's before I was done in my 4 years.
Smart, yeah, smart, smart. That's what's up. So during being a student athlete, right? I talk about this in my high school guy coach in college. How difficult was the student part of it? If it was difficult for you, some people can get through it, some people make it manage it. What were some of the difficult things you had to deal with being a student athlete?
It was definitely difficult because there's an emphasis and a priority on athletics, no matter what they say. Like coaches can recruit you and say that they want you there to do good in school, but at the end of the day, they want you there so you can put some numbers on the floor. Mm-hmm. So they always emphasize sports, and we get like tutors and everything. But for example, for me, it was difficult because I was in business at first, and I remember when I was at Texas Tech, they couldn't find me a tutor that tutored me in business. Right. Yeah, because a lot of the other athletes like chose not to have the more like demanding
majors, right,
or something. So yeah, I'm not putting that on every athlete, but a lot of them didn't. So so when I tried to get a tutor for business, they couldn't find me one, and so it was hard because I didn't have the support I needed. So I had to go and find things like other students, like student groups and everything. When, as you know, it could be difficult because student groups be like, they be on campus at like 12 a.m. and I got practice at 6, so I can't make those student study groups. Yeah, because I got to sleep. So it was tough, but made it through though.
Yeah. I always talk about like graduation for a lot of the people who come on, athletes, whatever. Just how fulfilling was that to, getting you majoring? I mean, you getting things done, getting degrees, but just how, especially I'm just thinking about pops in the background, moms, or how happy were they for that just accomplishment outside of the sports? I know they were big on that, but what about the education piece?
That was always my dad's number one priority with education. So he wanted us to play basketball to get to college so he can get a free education. So that was really the reason why he was getting us in, and I say us like me and my sister, getting in basketball so we can play. And I remember when I graduated, I knew the chancellor at the time who was like really in support of how I played, and he liked how I played, and his name was Kent Hance, and he let us have his box seats for my parents when we graduated. So they got
to come down from Cali, sit in the box seat for the graduation, VIP only. That means she must have been doing something on the court because they ain't giving a box seat, just know anybody. So she had a little privilege. That's dope though, but that's a great accomplishment and a big thanks to the parents too. You know what I mean? Because they put some time in, sacrificing, right? That's what's up, man. We'll get to this book real quick, but I'm gonna give a shout out to the homie, man, Jay. It's my boy's doing mobile homes right now, right? We're doing big business in the family and the squad, right? So he's doing mobile homes. His name's Aaron Haynes. You guys looking to buy mobile homes anywhere in the world, in the country, right? In the USA, man, look him up, man. Haynes Ventures, man. He buys mobile homes, fix them up, sell them for you. Please hit him up. Man, they have. And don't sleep on the mobile homes. They're nice, they're comfortable. It's nice living, and also, it could be more to your price range, man. So don't forget that. And again, I want to shout out everybody who came out to our place tonight, man. In Old Sac, it was popping. All the vendors showed up, all the people showed support, all the family showed love, man. I really appreciate y'all. We at our place appreciate y'all because it's really our place, and that means everybody. So if you guys are looking for events for weddings, parties, retirements, anything business ventures as far as contracts with your businesses, look us up. We can help you out and accommodate your needs with a chef. We got everything you want there, man, at one-stop shop at our place, all right, ourplaceevents.com. Let's talk books, man. Like, so on the first one, I'm not sure it was out yet. It was just ready to drop. But The Playground Queen, super dope book. The artwork is dope. But also, let's talk, actually, what was the inspiration behind you even beginning to write, period?
That's a good question. So, I mean, my grandmother was education. She was in education. So she was a kindergarten teacher. And she was somebody who really was all about just uplifting kids and that like social aspect being so important in your community and all that kind of stuff. And she was going to get her doctorate. So back in the day, like that was very rare for a Black woman to get a doctorate degree. And so her drive and everything and the way that she is kind of inspired me to become a writer. She was super creative, and so I just went for it. It was something that I wanted to do. I've always been somebody that likes creative writing, and then drawing is something that I really love. So that creativity, and so I figured it was time for me to get it done.
So shout out to Granny, man. My grandma, she's been gone for a while now, but she was a Head Start. She worked there for years down south. I mean, so I had my undergrad in child development and family studies. So I'm sure that's probably why because I was always around kids, but she worked at Head Start. But she loved the little kids. You know, grandma showed love, but she loved the little kids. And it's not for everybody, but you special place. You got to be, have a big heart.
You really do. I was just telling my mom the other day, I was like, this got to be your calling.
Yeah, it does. But I love it because like I said, every day is different for them. Even education period though, but the little kids for sure, because they're like a blank canvas.
Right.
But they all need support, help, and know what's going on. So yeah, definitely shout out to any early childhood development majors or teachers in general, right? As we know, education system is not easy. It's a lot of work, but that's what's up. So some of the motivation behind this first book, The Playground Queen, where'd it come from?
It was all for my daughter. So my daughter who's 6 now, she turned 6 in January, the end of January, and she's goes through her own little journey of learning and having to figure out everything. And this book was kind of written at the time when George Floyd was murdered. And so she was seeing a lot on TV about she saw police's knee on his neck. And so she was like, why do they keep hurting Black people, mommy? So I thought it was important for me to write a book where she knew it was okay to uplift her own community. So despite us going through this difficult time, she needed to know that it was fine to find somebody in classes that looked like her and really be like, oh, she has curly hair like me, or she has brown skin like me. Yeah, exactly. And so it's okay to do that. And you're not, blocking anybody else out just because you want to go towards somebody that makes you feel comfortable. Yeah. And so I wrote this book because it's all about, community uplifting one another. And then, if you do get into it with somebody who may be another race, or maybe they don't want to be your friends because what they've seen on TV and their parents' opinions really like dictating how they treat you, then you have to be able to forgive them along the way, but, lean on your community to help you do that.
It's amazing how little children can articulate stuff now. But it's times, right? It's 2020, so they're way ahead of advance, but they can say what they want, what they feel, or articulate, or ask questions.
Yeah.
You have to have like real conversations with 3, 4, or 5-year-olds now really that do. I'm sure we never had before growing up. Working to get a book, how hard is it to actually put something like that together though? How much time is it dedicated to your craft, sport, working on your game? How much time did it take?
It takes a lot of time because you have to like research and they say like the writing it and getting it out is the easiest thing. The marketing for your book is probably 80% of it. And so when I had to research all that stuff, I had to first research how you put it together, get an illustrator. I had to pay for an illustrator and find one I liked and see how much time she took to do the illustrations for the book. I had to make sure she knew my vision and explain to me so it looks like what I wanted it to look like. You got to be okay with telling her, no, that's not really what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So
you're paying for a service too, though. So you gotta
you
gotta be on point for real.
Right.
That's what's up.
And then writing, I think I really wrote that book. Like I like to take notes at night. Like when I'm on my phone or something, I take notes if I have ideas. So I wrote the idea out probably in a night, but then I had to edit it and make sure. My mom is a court reporter, so she did the editing for
me.
Yeah.
She got some quick fingers.
Yep. So yeah, it takes time, but it's dedication for sure, but it's worth it in the end.
That's definitely super dope. Knowing that some of this came from the little one's thoughts and kind of her situation she's going through, and she's able to see it now. How does she feel about it? How was the response from her? I mean, outside of being proud of mom, but how does she kind of feel knowing that, hey, this is kind of about me?
Yeah, she loves it. It's funny you say that because she just started, I put her in virtual school. So she's now, I like kind of help her while I'm doing my full-time job at school. And her teacher asked me to read to her classroom virtually. So she was just like all in her feelings, like, mommy, this book is about me. The kids get to see that it's a book about me and my mommy wrote it. So it made me feel special that she felt special in class. So
stuff that I'm sure, growing up, I don't know, we didn't see as much of it highlighted just in our communities or on TV enough. People probably doing it, but now it's a time for us. You can get that recognition, but she also can see somebody in her household is doing something big and major. So that's dope. But then you go to another one. We have another one right here. That's Not Fair. A lesson on equity versus equality. Now, this even the title a little deeper.
Yeah.
It's a little deeper, a little heavy, man. Give us some background behind that.
Yeah, this one. So this came about because from my job that I work with now, I work with a lot of like CEOs or executives, and sometimes we have conversations about like, I don't understand why we need to do this stuff around equity and all this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you can't interchange equality with equity because equity is really like helping people who are starting
It's
from
two different
behind.
things.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I said, I think, you got to teach kids earlier than later so that they know when they get older, if you teach them early enough, then they're not going to be trying to relearn what they shouldn't have been learning from the beginning. And we keep talking about like critical race theory and all this stuff
Okay.
in classes where they're trying to go back and really teach the real history and not the made up history now. So I know that's a controversial topic, but I was like, it's time for me to write something where kids can start learning about this deep stuff that really makes sense.
I'm definitely big on learned behavior. I mean, it's just because there's so much influence, right? That's what people are called influencers, stuff like that.
Right.
So if you influence or teach early, I guess, but then it comes down to like based on what you're teaching them with the principles behind it, it would help them. They'll know earlier. They kind of get a sense of what it is.
Right.
So what age group or age rate appropriate for like this book is catered to, or what's your target area?
This is 6 to 12, so I made it so it's a larger gap. So the Playground Queen was like I think 4 to 8 year olds.
So you cover both age.
Yeah.
The whole range. Gotta take that to school with me. Then I'm gonna take it to my kids for 12. We can take it to my high schoolers. You know what I'm saying? I got my nephews is in middle school, so they can take a look at one of them in middle school. So okay, that's dope. So these conversations though, because like I said, have you got a chance to present these to any kids yet? Any students?
I haven't yet because it's so new. So it just released February, so last month, mid-February the 17th, it just released. So I haven't been able to present it yet, but there are people that are asking for me to present it, and so I'm excited about that. But I know it's going to be a different kind of dialogue, and a lot of people aren't ready for it.
So that's what I was gonna ask how that go. But I mean, that's a good thing you should get ready for it. But while we're talking about right now, where can they find these books at right now? Because we kind of led into that right now. So first off, if you guys are looking for somebody to come out and read these books or present these books to your classrooms or to your students virtually or wherever you want to do, look her up, hit her up. The age range for both books, but also they got the one for middle school, high school group too. So where can they find and purchase your books at or get in contact with you at?
Yeah, so I have an Instagram at Dr. Casey's Books _ and at that Instagram there's a link to my link tree. If you go to my link tree, you can purchase all of my books. They're also available on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Walmart, Target. So a lot of the bigger
Wally's World.
Yeah.
She made it.
So a lot of the larger bookstore names, you can buy my books there. But if you wanted a signed copy, go to the link and I could send you a signed copy.
Super dope, man. Signed copies. And let me shout out the homie Dwight Taylor for the plug.
Yeah.
I always gotta take care of my people. See, I forget. I mean, I posted something last week. I said, don't forget that people actually connected you to somebody else or plugged you. So you gotta show them love too, because without somebody or whatever, we may not be here today. So I definitely shout out D Taylor, man. Doing big things. Definitely supporting me in this venture here too. But he's rocking him, his foundation and the family. So shout out to the homie, man.
He actually just presented at one of our clients for a Black History Month event. So he's doing his thing.
Connected though. Like-minded people be around, but also support each other. And that's what we're here for too. So again, you guys, and what I always do is I'm gonna post on my socials, I'll post her on there, I tag her. Have any questions, please do hit her up. If you want to figure some things out about what she's got going, books, orders, or reading, tap in. This book though, some of the end goals for you, what are we looking to do? Like, so we talked about educating, but what are we looking to do? Let's think let's go small picture. In the next couple, whatever, with this book out, what are we looking to do, or what type of impact you looking to have?
Yeah, so I really just wanted to start conversation. I think that's the first step to making change, is having conversation about it. And so if it gets in the hands of, like, for example, Dwight actually helped me out with getting a lot of my books into the Sacramento schools for the Playground Queen. This would be a great one to get in the principal's hands and teachers' hands. And even, I talk about it even with like business owners, because a lot of times like that diversity piece and equity piece is a big topic right now. And a lot of people don't know where to start talking about it. And so this book can be a conversation starter. Even if you maybe don't really understand or don't agree with it yet, this book is a great conversation starter. It's easy and it rhymes, and so it kind of makes sense.
It's a flow. It's a good read, an easy read. I like easy read. I like easy reads. But I like stuff, more so reading now, but definitely, it just, you never know who your audience is, right? So I want to keep them engaged. I'm looking on the back, it says the name Jordan. Is that Jordan and Justin, right? Are those fictional characters or actually some kids you might have run into?
No, that's a good question. It would have been smart to do real characters, but those are
Hey,
just
you
fictional
never
because
know.
they rhymed. So I
Okay,
did it like that because they
Jordan
rhymed is
Jesse.
what I was
Yep,
doing. Yeah.
definitely dope. Um, Something like this, like I said, it's the start of something even more, right? It's evolving long term with this. Because I'm seeing that your book right there is moving and it's getting people reaching out. They're highlighting it. They're showing love, but also implementing their classrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, we're looking to get the same level, but also bigger scales with this book.
Yeah, I would love that to be a bigger scale because, like I said, I think this one is huge on community building, and
Mhm.
there's an important message in this one too about community. But this one is really like something that can prompt a little controversy, which is not a bad thing in my
Right.
opinion. I think for me, like I said, it's a conversation starter that's important because if we don't talk about it, then we're never going to understand how we can work with each other to fix it. And so,
Mm.
equity being such a large topic right now, it could be something that people use to just say, hey, I think you just want to read this and kind of see what my thoughts are with this. And it's a rhyme, like I said, it rhymes, so it's easy to read. It's the simplest form
Dope.
to understand equity.
Dope. So that's what's up. I definitely can see where you're going with that, and now I mean, that really is just like let's just get it out there. Let's get it out there, get it in the hands of people.
For real.
Let people get to reading it and sharing it with people openly, right? Because I mean, some people can't advocate for themselves or know how to kind of bring it across, but if you're helping them out,
Yeah.
why not? Why not use the book and hopefully people are doing it. Overall, for you though, did you imagine this coming after the playing career was going to be your next phase of your life?
I didn't know. I feel like I knew I wanted to do something creative, but I didn't know that I was going to be writing children's books. So I'm glad I kind of went for it. But if you would have asked me that, like when I was playing, I would have been like, no, I'm about to be in the WNBA or I'm about to be playing overseas. I never thought I really didn't think about life after sports until it really ended for me because my hope and plan before I got injured was to continue to play for a long time after I finished in college. So
Yeah. What did you get your master's in first off?
media communications.
Media communications. Okay. Undergrads in what?
In university studies.
So things are kind of going together, and then the doctorate is
higher education.
Higher education. So you got higher education, youth, whatever. But then you also got, you said media studies. So you got to market your books, all that stuff, right? Okay, so it all flows. So having a plan. Well, did that plan? You know, we all meet with counselors, right? But sometimes they give us pathways. Some are good, some, vice versa. Was that kind of a plan you put in place early? Because that seemed like it's kind of guided. You knew one to the next to the next.
No, I don't think so. I think that it really is almost when we try to like stress ourselves out with what we need to do next, it gets a little bit too complicated because there's never really a right answer. I've even heard people say like, I don't know why you get a PhD. And I'm like, who questions that? But, if you don't apply your PhD and say, I have a PhD and this is why I need to be at this table, then it really is a waste. Like people don't know you got it. So it really is about how you market whatever you tried to go achieve in college after you get out of college.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, because it depends what your field of work is going to be, but also certain positions, certain jobs, you want them zeros behind it.
Right.
That PhD get you them zeros behind it, depending on what you do, right? Especially in the education world and field, if you certain jobs or certain builds, get that PhD behind it. What's next? Outside of this coming right now, if anything you could share, or what's kind of, you got some other things that we may not give the full disclosure now, but you got something else coming in the works?
I think as far as like, I do want to continue to write children's books. So I'm going to keep doing that and kind of gauge on what my audience is like and see what their mind is. But I'm always going to make books that uplift Black and brown kids. So that's never going to change no matter what my audience wants. But I do, outside of my books, I've been talking to my sister, which is up and coming. We're talking about starting eventually like a business around making sure that we help people with understanding diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is something in the works. So we haven't created it yet, but both of us have deep knowledge and experience in the field. And so we think that, being young Black women who have worked with many CEOs, executives, and, have the education to back it up. She has her PMP, figuring out how we can do that and be successful and helping businesses like Black businesses and businesses that maybe don't get helped a lot because they can't afford those larger tech organizations to help them. So want to focus on that.
Definitely dope. Gotta tap you. And I told my sister earlier, I tap in with you. She's a principal at a local middle school, Kid Carson.
Yeah.
But you gotta give me the shout out, bro. That's my twin too, but that's my other half, man. But that's my dog.
Yeah.
But she's a principal too, and I was telling her something else.
That's
I think they do. I think it's 7th to 12th. I'm not sure if it's K-12, but somebody else, and she's looking always to support and bring people in too. Dwight actually spoke to her staff too. So, but in Upland District too, right? They can all use a resource. So we'll definitely have to make sure we throw some communication out there to make sure we get people out there. Hey, it's something that we haven't had and it's there now, so we got to go with it.
Yeah.
I know I asked for your 3 a while ago probably, but at the end your triple threat, right? As you know the game, right? Dribble, pass, shoot, all that right now. But right now, again, if you're something new, if it's changed, but I definitely want them to hear you to give me a triple threat again, or something that you can hang your hat on, right? Something that you tell your morals on, your values, all your stuff by, that you can share to everybody. 3 things.
Yeah, I did share. They probably changed since the last time.
So, hey, but and I was talking to somebody else though, right? It's not a bad thing because I think that's how we make progress, or that's how we learn from losses or wins. So I got to change my focus a little bit. Okay, now my thing is different. So hey, like I said, it can change. So it's okay. It's all right.
So my triple threat, I think, is to what I've learned and how I've changed. And my triple threat probably changes once a year.
Okay.
And I think or maybe once every 3 years or something. But I definitely want to continue to change it. And I think one thing would be to make sure you're living in your purpose. So figuring out what you want to focus on and make sure that's tied to your purpose.
Make sure you're living in your purpose.
Yep. And so if you're doing something that you feel like is detached or is not fueling whatever your purpose is, and you may want to redirect that energy. Yeah. The other thing I think is to make sure that we're focused on, and I'm focused on, failures or something that can turn into a positive. And so embrace failures and embrace things that you think may be a mistake and help it to make you a better person. And then I think COVID has really made me realize that, for me, my purpose is part of this, but I think even separately, keeping your family and loved ones really close. And so, there's been some crazy trying times, and you've seen people that you thought were in your corner that may, for whatever reasons, have kind of shifted a little bit. And just making sure you know who that circle is and keeping them tight and making sure you tell them you love them and, reciprocate whatever energy they're giving to you, because you never know how short their time could be. And that's something that you really cherish, especially in these uncertain times. Like I said, it's just something that we never know what's going to happen. So make sure you love everybody that you love really hard.
Definitely dope, man. I would even say that too. I mean, the last year and a half, 2 years for everybody's been up and down, different families, different struggles, different successes, though. It's some successes too, right? I mean, we got some good, you know what I mean? So I think it pressure makes, those diamonds out of people too, but also you can produce some things that we got to either detach from or you grow to adapt and evolve from. So I definitely, but just praying for everybody who's going through something. I mean, it's a lot of nationals we're going through. Can't run from it. Yeah. It's day-to-day living, as we talk about mental health, what I'm saying, stuff offline, stuff that I'm doing in my new position now. It's needed. But I think outlets like these, people talking about it more, you said we talk about it or offer resources, we can help change. So I definitely want to do that. I definitely again want to put out there, got 2 weeks from today, I'm taking all tracks. Give me about a minute 30 maybe. I'm going to highlight you guys. You know what I'm saying? You got 2 weeks to put them in. Submit them to Coach J916@gmail.com. Who got bars? But if you want to throw something in there about the podcast, give me something like that. Dope. If you have a track that you do want to highlight that is still age somewhat appropriate, not, we can play stuff on here, but I want to keep it for everybody. I want to do that as well. And I want to give everybody a chance to give some love, man, because I want to use it as a platform to build bridges, link other people together, and you never know who's going to be on. Like I said, man, we got a studio in a booth in the studio, so that's my next hope. Get some people come in and get in the booth, and like we used to do in the basement years ago, and just add some flavor to the podcast, man. And Jay, one more time, if you don't mind, I'm gonna play this track again. It's Joe, man. Joe is definitely on the move. I'm gonna give him a little more love, man, because I think this song is super dope. And if you can, I would like to hear it in the headphones up here too. We heard it, but I want to go from there. There we go. But it's called Only by Joe. All right, y'all enjoy the track for a minute before we get out of here.
Girl, you want this Nighttime lasting, but you scared to fall. So saddle up and brace yourself, cause I'm gonna give it all. And mama lift it up. Front on D&D, don't want no interruptions. Joey casting over the honest seduction. And you gon' reach your peak if you follow instructions. Baby, just trust it, yeah. Put your tongue on my tongue and speak the same language. Come star in this movie, I can make you famous. Kissing on your neck as you take off your necklace. And now the only thing we got on, baby, is this necklace. Now the only thing we got on, baby, is this necklace. Now the only thing we got on. Okay, now be my main actress. We can make a movie, you ain't gotta yell action. By the way you move it, I can see the satisfaction. Face deep in the pillow, got you fucking up your lashes. Scratches on my neck and spine, cause you won't let me go. No way that you keep talking shit, I can tell you want some more. Baby, that's passion. I know it's been a minute since you had it, but you got my attention, no distraction. We on the same page with our actions, our actions. Oh, oh, oh. Put your tongue on my tongue and speak the same language. Come star in this movie.
He's from Sacramento, man. I had them on this podcast a few weeks ago, man. Tap into Chimchilla. Follow Joe. Follow Chim, man. That song is going to hit the charts tough. All right. 916 over everything, baby. Also, actually, before we get out of here, though, Casey, it's some things in the works trying to get the retired hooper back on the court over here. So we might have some news for y'all soon about that, and some connections with some other people and prior guests. Ladies, if you're interested in doing some pro basketball stuff, still at a high level, elite level, trying to get overseas, if you're here in SAC, tap in Coach J 916 or 94 feet with Coach JT. Send me an email, send me a message. We got something rocking in the works. I posted a few weeks ago on my Instagram. I posted again. We're looking to put a little squad together. Serious hoopers only.
Yep.
About that business, because you represent the area out here, but your game as well. Put yourself on display for other people, other teams, if you're still trying to play ball or if you still want to get after it. So that's something we got in the works right now. Definitely, hopefully, I have my point guard right here standing next to me, and we're gonna see what's going on, man. So, from Dr. Casey Morris, from Coach J, 94 feet with Coach JT. Appreciate y'all for listening in. Like, subscribe to the podcast, tap into us, man. Hey, grab the books, Finder. Grab the books, man. Please go grab them right here. All right, you got 2 of them, man. Go 2 for 2 from the line. Should appreciate it, man. And that's about it, man. So again, y'all be safe, stay blessed. We out. Peace.